Hello, everybody. Welcome to Against the Ropes. This is a new edition, and as usual, with my partner in crime, Yuli, the Monster Diaz. Yuli, it's been a huge week. Yes. You've been away.
I have been away. I've been traveling back and forth. We came back from Denver as well.
God, that was a great fight.
Yes, it was. It was one of the best fights that I've seen in bare knuckle. I got to be in John Barnard's corner. Bloody, amazing fight. Hats off to Harry Gigliotti. He's just a great fighter. And he's here to stay.
Okay, I was going to talk, both of them. Yes. They're great fighters. Yes. And you were with Barnard. He took I'd say the worst part of that fight. He looked like he was demolished, but yet his spirit is not broken. How does that happen?
Man, we talked about it in the pre-fight interview. He has the Hawaiian spirit. He's got the Polynesian warrior. And this is, he did this for a long time before. We know he was retired for 10 years and came back into fighting. I've always said he has one of the best minds in fighting. He's very calm, very collected. He sticks to his game plan. He did well, but Harry was just faster and stronger.
Yep, he was. And Gigliotti is definitely a purist in his essence and his striking ability. So I think we have great warriors coming up. But as usual, I have a great warrior next to me because you have a fight coming up, March 22nd.
I do. March 22nd, I'm fighting on Dirty Boxing. So guess what, guys? Surprise, I'm back up out of retirement.
Wait. So I ran out of the studio after the Olympics because I wanted to be there for your goodbye. And we had this heartfelt speech.
So
and you're back.
I'm back. I always said I'd be back if the money was right. I retired from bare knuckle. Okay. Everybody knows I'm working behind the scenes with BKB now. And shout out to BKB. That's always my family. They're actually going to be on my fight shorts. I'm representing them through everything I do, in anything I do. But I got the opportunity with Dirty Boxing. This is Dirty Boxing 1. They did a show before just to kind of test it. Mm-hmm. Went well, went viral, was star-studded. So this is Dirty Boxing 1. And one thing about me, I've been in bare knuckle since the beginning.
You're the OG, he's the OG.
I'm one of the OGs, and I like that. So I'm going to be one of the OGs for this Dirty Boxing thing. When people look back in time and they look at Dirty Boxing number 1, Yuli's a feature fight. I'm fighting. I'm the feature fight. Then I have Paige Van Zandt fighting, and I have Yoel Romero as the main event. So it's going to be an amazing event.
Talk about originals, and you're fighting somebody that you know. His name is Brian Maxwell. He's coming all the way from Virginia. You guys know each other.
That's right.
But you already beat him, so what's up?
Brian Maxwell was actually my first bare knuckle fight. I beat him by TKO. We've become friends after the fight. They happened to give me this opponent, and he took the fight, I took the fight, and we're both coming ready to fight. I fought him 5 years ago, or a little over 5 years ago, so in bare knuckle. So I know he's been prepping, and I know when he found out it was me, he kind of, he knows there's a lot on the line for him.
Well, I think this is not just for, the purse. It's obviously pride.
Absolutely.
You're fighting in your backyard.
Yes.
So I don't wish you luck because I know you have a lot of preparation and commitment. So,
right.
But I know this is inside talk. You're not going to believe this. Yeah. He spends more time getting his hair done than I do. And God knows I go through, a lot of hair. So how often do you have to go get it done because you're getting ready to fight?
So shout out to Jerry Brown, Miss Jerry at 561 Lock Lounge. Where I'm at now, the point I'm at now, it probably takes 30, 45 minutes. She does it pretty quick. To get it started, it does take half a day. I've been with her doing it for years. Everybody knows I'm one of the points I'm famous for is my dreads. So I'm glad I brought them back. I actually regretted it the day I cut it. But let's not skip. Let's not skip your purple hair.
So it's a hair day.
Yeah, it is.
We got our hair day.
It is.
And that's why I know it takes all of 20 minutes to get everything done. That means cut and color.
That's great. That's
great. So 30 minutes. And then suéltame las trenzas. Does that get too tight?
It doesn't. She used to tie them through before. I don't like doing that anymore. I'm getting older. I don't want to lose any hair, so I like to just keep the growth as it is.
Do you have like a full head of hair?
I do have a full head of hair. Thank God.
Look at him. He doesn't have a bald spot.
Thank God, yeah. And very few grays. Let's not even talk about that. That's why I cut them off on the side.
Don't make me go Colombian. Because it's not a pretty sight. It is not a pretty sight. And talk about pretty sights. Coming up soon in Wolverhampton, we have LT Smash Nelson. Yeah. He's going to be facing Connelly. And we know James Connelly is in for a treat because obviously that first fight we had, first edition, and we always talk about first being the one and then sequels not so good.
That's right.
I honestly think that this second fight up in Wolverhampton is going to be better. Connelly's going to be in his backyard. He obviously has the crowd behind him,
Yes.
and there's a lot to prove on his side.
I think there's a ton to prove on both sides. It's going to be a hell of a fight. The first one was a draw. It was an amazing fight in itself. Connelly does have the advantage that he's in his backyard this time. And I think also, they were supposed to fight in Albuquerque about a month ago. That fell through because of the rounds in Albuquerque commission rules. So I think James, because James came ready, LT didn't want to take the fight because of the rules that the commission was trying to impose. So I think James is, holding that grudge against LT. Yes, I think he's going to bring that to the fight. He came ready to fight. He made weight. He flew across the world to come over here and fight. And LT didn't take a fight with all rights because Albuquerque only wanted to make a championship fight 5 rounds. For BKB, it's 6 rounds. So LT's like, okay.
But I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
It's not just in that state,
Right.
or BKB or BYB at the time.
Right.
It's already accepted by ABC rules.
Right.
So if all the commissions of the U.S. decide that we're going to go for championship rounds, 6 rounds, I never understood why they decided. Everything was just a little different, a little off in Albuquerque.
It was. Even though it was a great night of fights, but the rules were a little different. LT that night, or the day before, had told him before he said, I'm not fighting, he said, all right, we'll do it 5 rounds, because that was the max they could do, but no belt. Connelly didn't want that, so he said, all right, forget it, fight's over. They set it up for now, March 22nd, Wolverhampton. There's going to be fireworks in this arena in Wolverhampton. It's going to be amazing.
But let's talk about the X's and O's. And, we prepare for a fight as an announcer, and we have all our stats and yada, yada. And when a fight falls through, there's a lot of work involved.
Right.
Matchmaking, purse bidding, yada, yada.
Right.
But for a fighter, when you've already hit the max point and you're ready, like it's that tiger that's in a cage and they're ready to go, they're peaking. How frustrating is it when they just pull the rug from under your feet?
Oh, there's nothing like it. It's as frustrating to be, especially the worst part about it is you're making weight up until the day of the fight. And that's very stressful after. Not only stressful about making a weight, after flying across the world to come over here and trying to, figure out how you're going to eat and making sure your diet's on point to make weight for this fight.
Traveling and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a girl thing. We all swell up. Do you guys swell up too?
I do. When I come off a plane, first thing I do is go to the bathroom and let go of air and water and everything.
Thank you for sharing.
Hey,
TMI,
you guys are welcome.
It is
I'm sure everybody feels the same way.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to, and it's incredible, especially because we were in altitude. Right. So I was soaring. I can only imagine everything that we have to go through. Albuquerque is at a very, very high altitude.
It is.
About the same as Denver.
Right.
So everything is just kind of off. You're a little slower. Yeah. You're out of breath. And just not having the opportunity to fight for the title, that just kind of takes the shine out of the luster of a belt.
Right, but I think it's just more of a build-up for March 22nd.
And let's go back to Denver, and we're talking about weight. And you're fighting at what division?
I'm fighting in light heavyweight, 200 pounds.
Oh. Yeah. And you walk around at what?
I walk around, right now I'm probably like 210.
Oh, so you only have 10 more pounds to go.
Yeah. And I took the fight, when we were talking about taking this fight, I told him I wanted to take it at this. That's kind of one of the reasons I retired. I'm tired of going up and down and fluctuating weight. That's not good for me at my age, so I want to take a fight at what I walk around at.
And, I'm going to skip just a little bit forward because when we talk about weight, people don't understand sometimes that it's not just a division. We're talking about you're prepping not only for the output in terms of punches, you're also prepping for the input, the kind of punishment that you're going to have to assimilate. Right. Because it's not the same when you're, let's say, light heavyweight, but you rehydrate to maybe a super heavyweight. Right. That punch comes with a completely different oomph.
Absolutely. And if you don't rehydrate as well, you take the punch and it could be the last punch you take for the night, because the liquid in your brain isn't there, it's dry, so it rattles, and that's how you get a lot of knockouts. A lot of injuries, a lot of hospitalizations in fighting comes from bad weight cuts.
So going back to Denver, we had an instance, we were supposed to talk about this later, but let's just talk about it now. Right. Because we talked about this fight ad nauseum. Yeah. We were expecting this fight against Helen Peralta against Lailane from Brazil, and that fight fell through because Helen Peralta came 9 pounds over.
Was it 9? I heard 10, but 9 and 10 is the same. It's close enough.
You get off the plane, you take care of business, that's 1 pound.
Right.
So let's talk about business.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because you and I, we looked at each other going like, what?
Yeah. No, it was crazy. I remember when I got the text, we texted each other like, oh my God, what? And we spoke about this fight maybe 2 or 3 times.
Exactly.
What do I think about that? I think that shows lack of professionalism. Helen knows better. She's been in this game for a while. There's a reason behind her doing this. What it is, I have no idea. Only she knows.
9 pounds.
9 pounds is way too much. If you ask me, my opinion would be that she didn't want to fight. What reason? I don't know. I wouldn't think she was scared because she's a tough woman. She's a champ. But to come 9 pounds over, you didn't come to fight, And it's a big disrespect not only to the promotion, but to the fighter she's going against. And Helen has she's done this before. From what I heard, this is, not only the first time she's done it. She's done it multiple times. She always comes in overweight.
So this is like
what
she does.
Her MO, from what I hear, she comes in overweight.
I felt really bad, especially let's talk about travel. Lailane and Mota came all the way from Brazil, looking for that opportunity that she has been denied before. Right. Because remember, that fight, the one that they had, was stopped because there was a cut.
That's right.
So now we push forward. We waited a long time for this rematch. And she was looking forward to really getting the opportunity for a title. Again, going back to your motivation, and it's gotta be so frustrating that you make it to the scale, that's your first challenge right there. And I feel that Helen, we had the opportunity to talk, and she said, my body was just not coming down. It was just not coming down.
See, that's why, I don't know exactly what happened. 9 pounds is a lot.
Exactly.
Everybody's body's different. Everybody goes through different things. She's a woman. I can't even put myself in her shoes. But she had plenty of time to get ready for this fight. So maybe she started too late, and by the time fight time came, she's 9 pounds over.
I remember back in the day, and I think you're going to remember this when Arturo Gatti was fighting Mickey Ward. And
epic, legendary.
Epic. I mean,
3 fights.
Amazing. It was one of the best trilogies ever, and Morales Barrera being another one. Yeah. But I remember Gatti would easily rehydrate 20 pounds. Yeah. Like he would dehydrate himself to the bare minimum, as in he would have to be carried off. Yeah. So for those that perhaps doubt of the athleticism and capabilities of fighters, think about this. Most of these men and women lose about 10 to 15% of their body weight in days. Yeah. Days. Just to make sure that they're able to rehydrate properly and make it to the fight. That's respect to them.
No, absolutely, respect to them. When you come to a BKB event and you're behind the scenes for like the weigh-ins and the press conferences before the fight ever even goes on, we have saunas set up for the fighters. You see them coming out and they're slugs, they're dead, what I mean? Their eyes are sunken in, and that's a lot of guys who don't make it right. There's a lot of guys who ease into their weight cut. They come, they get on the scale, and they're back hydrated, and they look like bodybuilders the next day. Like 20 pounds heavier.
Yes, I just had a fight in where was I? In Puerto Rico, and he was supposed to be at 140. The fight took place at 140, but the guys that actually showed up at the ring, easy 154, 160, and I'm being very, very relaxed. Yeah. Moving forward, we have another fight, and we're going to start with, it's going to be in Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. But I wanted to shout out because they're having fires as well.
Oh, are they? Well, shout out to them and all the people in Myrtle Beach.
Yes.
Our heart goes out to you. And, BKB will be there in April, and hopefully we can bring some crowd, bring some money to the city, and help out wherever we can.
Thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that's suffering through all this hardship, because the truth is hitting all kinds of different parts of the country. Yeah. And guess who's back? Who's back? In Myrtle Beach.
Oh, is it?
The Preacher Man,
oh,
Mr. Oxendine.
That's my guy. Man, Josh is a hell of a fighter. He had a tough fight against Jared. He was actually winning the fight. Jared ended up, knocking him out at the end. He's a hell of a fighter. I'm looking forward to him coming back. Who's he going up against?
Well, there's a newcomer. We just had the opportunity to see him back in...
That's right. I heard about this
where
match.
We were in Denver.
That's right.
Estevan Partida.
I heard about this match.
And I remember, Mr. AJ Easley, he was very keen at letting us know during the fighter meetings. He says, listen, Linda, You better take note of this young man. This is a future star. The most amazing thing, do you remember the Berserker?
Yes, I do.
Okay, when he smiled, even though he was getting beaten up like to the pulp.
Yeah.
This is Estevan Partida. You saw him. He's throwing punches, but he's literally like enjoying this.
Hey, listen, this is a hell of a fight to put together. I saw Estevan Partida fight the other day. He is amazing, smiling through the fight, real slick, real good boxer, tough as could be. He came with everything behind every punch. And now he's fighting Joshua Oxendine, who's a veteran. This is going to be Partida's second fight. Josh has to have at least 8 bare knuckle fights. So when they offered Partida the fight, he jumped on it right away. This kid's looking to get the belt around his waist immediately. And I'll tell you what, he's a force to be reckoned with. He's coming with everything.
Talk about having absolutely no fear. Yeah. That's exactly what he said. We usually ask him, so what are your tools? What is your best asset?
He came with pink hair.
I love
Yeah.
And he said, I just have no fear. I'm not afraid. What's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, so we're looking forward to that. That's going to be April 4th, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun.
That's right.
And just to, do a transition, of course, we got to talk a little bit about boxing, the sweet science.
Absolutely.
You saw Tank Davis?
I did see Tank Davis against Lamont Roach. In my opinion,
and local guy from our back of the neck of the woods?
Yes. And in my opinion, Lamont got robbed for that fight. They gave him a draw. Tank took a knee in the middle of the fight. They didn't count the knee. He ran to his corner and got his face wiped in the middle of the fight. That should have been a disqualification. Didn't do anything about it. It was, to say the least, it was weird. It came out in a draw. Again,
Majority draw.
Yeah, majority draw. And in my opinion, Lamont won that fight. There has to be a rematch. We have to see what comes out of this.
I agree. I mean, the fight was a very technical fight. That was a faux pas. I had never seen such a thing happen. I remember back in the day, Franchon Cruz-Azurn had her dreads pulled out. Paulo Malignaggi had his braids cut off. What do you do for your braids?
I tie them back as hard as I can. I put 2 or 3 straps back there and I just tie them back tight.
This is the deal. So Tank Davis says that, one of the beads in his braid hit his eye.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was the grease from his hair.
But it was the bead that actually got in with the grease. So that's why he took a knee. First of all, when you take a knee, what's the first thing that happens? You as a fighter, tell me, what's the first thing that happens when you take a knee?
Well, they make the other fighter go to their corner. They come to you and they start giving you a count immediately. Exactly. No matter what, they don't even ask you. And then once they tell you to get up, you get up, step this way. You okay? Do you want to fight? Do you want to continue? Yes. But he should have gotten a count for taking the knee.
Exactly. And then if there is something wrong, as it happens in bare knuckle, then you take time out.
The doctor comes in
and checks it out. That's Are you okay? Do I need to clean you up?
That's right.
Corner comes in, takes care of, no instructions. That's right. All of a sudden, you see, Tank Davis, this was hilarious. We're all sitting down after I got done with my event in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Fajardo actually, he just literally jumped to his personal corner. He got wiped off, and then he went right back.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in boxing. And for those that don't know, if you're watching a boxing match and the 2 fighters are on opposite ends of the ring, they're not even close to each other, and this guy takes a knee, they're gonna count this guy. They're gonna give this guy a count. So it's whether he took a hit or I don't know what it was. He took a knee. He should have got the count. Didn't. Got his face wiped. Should have got disqualified. Didn't. Came out on a majority draw. Lamont looked like he was getting more of the action, more of the points, more of the touching on the fight. Again, we need to see part 2.
Yeah, I like it. I like that solution. Yeah. Maybe just call this, they can
Well, Tank already said he'll give him the rematch. So.
Well, he should. And to call this a no contest, that's not fair because they did go the distance.
Right.
Do you think they'll overturn the decision of a draw?
Man. I've never seen that done. It's possible. I know Lamont's people are probably appealing the call, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes that run things that we don't know about. So we'll see what happens, But there has to be a part 2 anyways.
And we're going to talk about it here anyway.
That's right.
Now you guys have a date. Don't forget, right here and Against the Ropes. Now that we have our hair did, we're not going to be late again.
That's right. No, we got our hair done.
Point.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're ready to go. We're off the plane, and we're here in you guys' faces, ready to give you Against the Ropes.
March 22nd from the hangar.
March 22nd, Coconut Grove, the hangar. If you guys are out of town, check me out on Instagram. If not, come to the fight, man. I'd love to have you there. I'm going to knock his 2 front teeth into the back row. So catch him if you can.
Brian Maxwell, you're in for a treat.
That's right.
Until next time.